Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Kev the Dev. There's been a lot of news lately about 5G and whether or not it may do certain things. And it made me want to make a video informing people about what 5G really is. So what exactly is 5G and why is it important to you? Well, two things. First, it's really freaking fast, so it's great for all use cases. And second, it could change the landscape of internet service providers. In the near future, your home internet provider might be 5G and not cable. Okay, so we're on 5G. But to understand 5G, it's helpful to go through what the first four were. So really quickly, the first generation of cellular radio waves were analog. And this was back from 1979 all the way through 1992. In 1992, the first 2G digital networks appeared, offering data transfer speeds of up to 380 kilobits per second. Big time speed. Then starting in 2001, the third generation of networks appeared, and over the course of the next 10 years would evolve to provide data transfer speeds of up to 21 megabits per second. That's M for mega. In 2011-2012 timeframe, the fourth generation of networks got rid of the circuit switch style of connection for telephone calls, and everything used internet protocol for phone calls as well as data transmissions. They also did some fancy new things with the antenna arrays that they set up, as well as using this new technology called MIMO, multiple input, multiple output communications. All that fancy jargon can be summed up by saying 4G did some fun new things which increased our speed limits from around 21 megabits per second all the way up to 300 megabits per second, though not all carriers implemented it like that. And now we arrive to 5G. The fifth generation promises to offer speeds of up to 10 gigabits per second, but we'll see if we ever get there. Now, before we get into exactly what 5G is, you might be wondering who decides what 5G, 4G, 3G are. There are two organizations to know about here. The first is the International Telecommunications Union, also known as the ITU. And then there's the Third Generation Partnership Project, also known as the 3GPP. The ITU is actually an agency within the United Nations, and that works by creating some theoretical standards by which a network might adhere to, and then the 3GPP takes those specifications that the ITU creates and does more research to craft standards that are realistic that networks can follow when they're being constructed. So they work in tandem, and they're both necessary for defining what 3G, 4G, 5G are. Okay, so what is 5G then? Simply put, 5G uses radio waves in extremely small wavelengths to pack a ton of data into the air. It also uses some legacy wavelengths to support larger areas with slower speeds, and we'll get into that in a minute. So just know that not all 5G is created equal. So what's going to happen, and what's already started happening, is the providers are going to start launching these new antenna arrays that will actually shoot out signal in 3 different wavelength bands, which are just groupings of frequencies: the low, medium, and high band. The high band one is really the most interesting one. It's going to be operating between 24 and 40 gigahertz, which is pretty unheard of for cell phone technology. Those frequencies will allow for data transfer up to in the gigabit range. The other two bands, the low and the mid band, are actually going to be operating at frequencies that currently are used. So you're not going to get any better speeds than you would using current 3G or 4G, but they need to all be working together for the consumer to have a consistent connection. So as you can see, it's not quite as simple as saying if you have 5G, you'll get great speeds. And some carriers, like the budget carriers, will advertise 5G, but then they won't differentiate between the mid-band and high-band frequencies. And so when they show you a map, it may look like you're covered under the new 5G spectrum, but really you're just getting the exact same speeds that you were before on 4G. The important detail is going to be how close are you to one of those new high band antennas. Most providers don't differentiate on their coverage maps. I do know that Verizon's does show you the high band antenna locations. Okay, so it's important to know how the frequency of a radio wave impacts the quality of the reception. So as we mentioned, radio waves with a high frequency can pack a lot of data into a small amount of space, thereby increasing the bandwidth of the signal. However, another fundamental trait of high frequency signals is that they are notoriously poor at covering long distances and also at penetrating certain materials like concrete. So as a provider, maintaining a balance of the low low, mid, and high band antenna is critical for helping you stay connected. So here in 2020, 5G is just getting off the ground with an estimated adoption rate right now at about 4%. And looking forward, estimations show that by 2025, roughly half of the smartphone market will be 5G. It's going to be important for manufacturers like Apple and Samsung to include 5G chips in their newest devices for this adoption rate to happen. Lastly, you may have heard that 5G high band frequencies are dangerous. Okay, as of right now, there is no evidence to support that the new frequency ranges of 5G are dangerous. In fact, the FCC has certified that any signal up to 100 gigahertz that falls within a certain energy output constraint is safe. So for now, don't you worry. Well, I hope that this showed you a little bit about what 5G is. If you liked the video, please like it below and let me know if you're going to be getting a 5G phone anytime soon. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this content and want to see more. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you next time.